welcome to City Hall this evening for our special meeting of Council. I'd just like to start just by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land which we're meeting tonight. That's the Wathaurong people, and pay my respects to the elders past and present. Are there any apologies for this evening? I know we have a couple of councillors who can't be with us. I know Councillor Pat Manane is one. Councillor Sarah Mansfield can't be with us tonight. Any others to be noted? Thank you. Any declarations of interest to be noted? None at this point. Thank you. Yes. This meeting is being broadcast on the internet, and the recording of the meeting will be published on Council's website. As a visitor in the public gallery, you may be filmed. By remaining in the public gallery, you consent to being filmed and for the recording of you to be made publicly available by the Council. A copy of the Council's live streaming and recording Council meetings policy is available at the back of this room and on the Council's website. Please speak with one of our staff members if you have any questions in relation to that. And we also have a photographer from the local newspaper present, so be aware that you may be photographed. Glenn, is that you behind the camera there? So due to the high level of public interest that we've had in recent times, I'll actually invite questions from the gallery before we move into the agenda item. A special meeting generally doesn't have question time, but given the issue at hand, I'm happy to open the floor to questions. For what it's worth, we have felt the wrath this week, so we understand what the community has spoken about. So if you wish to come forward and continue that, perhaps not going to be in everyone's best interest, but we respect what you wish to say. But just thought I'd let you know that we certainly have heard loud and clear from the community in recent days. So I open the floor to the community if anyone would like to come forward and ask a question. You don't have to, but I'm just making that offer. Okay, well, I'll move into the... No, sir?
Someone has to break the ice.
You don't have to, but you're welcome to.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, councillors. Thank you for setting up the special meeting. My concern...
sorry, your name, sir?
Yes, my name is Robert Menaul, M-E-N-A-U-L.
Thanks, Robert.
In Huyton. My biggest concern about the rather abrupt change in parking is primarily the collection of the number plates on the parking meters. I've talked with a couple of parking inspectors. I understand that the goal is to have a paperless system come about in December, which doesn't quite make sense if you're having number plates stored for parking. You can definitely see the number plate on the parking sticker, so you're not doing is very common. You pay for a little bit of extra time, you hand it to somebody who's needing to park for just a few minutes, which is a very good community thing. All of a sudden that's being cut out. My biggest concern is, as a privacy, maven, is you're collecting number plates for what reason? The privacy concern for me is it seems like government is now being able to track where a specific person or household is parking at any time during the day. It would be really nice to think that that data is only being collected and used for parking analysis. I know how data leaks out, and I know how data can be used. That concerns me very greatly, and I know that there are other councils who have this same sort of system that do not collect number plate information. Is that an issue that is going to be very, very, very heavily scrutinized before it is implemented? Otherwise, it sure seems like a lot of people might use the license plate AAA000 when they're getting their parking stickers.
Thank you for your question. It's a valid question, one that we also have had some conversation about. I'm going to go to Gareth Smith just to make further comment, but I will say, as a clever and creative city of design, we are moving into the 21st century, and I guess This type of technology is used globally, and there are many benefits, but as you've alluded to, there are some downsides when misused. Gareth?
Thank you, through the Mayor. Look, thanks for the question, Robert. And I guess the key point was around privacy. And as you appreciate, local government collects information in various shapes or forms, from rate notices and the likes, but we're bound, like all local and state and federal government, by privacy laws on how we utilise that. And that information can only be used for the purpose that we collect it. Certainly, there's multiple reasons a lot of organisations, councils, whether it be within Australia or internationally, actually are going this way. And besides just that, paperless, but certainly we are also looking at different efficiencies as well and how we operate. Going paperless and using number plates actually allows also technology through drive-by monitoring inspection of use of parking. Our staff, from a safety perspective, there's great advantages there, getting away from that confrontation. Sometimes it does occur in there. It means we can be operating in all weather conditions, staff not being out there in 30 or 40 degrees day or in the rain or the like. So there's significant advantages that provide efficiencies to our community on how we actually monitor and maintain our parking system. So we can encourage continued turnover and help the businesses grow in Geelong as well by doing that.
Thanks, Gareth. Any other questions from the floor? If not, I'll go into... Oh, yes. Yep. Just please come forward.
Hi, I am one of the Deakin students who right now study Master of the Architecture.
Just your name, please.
My name is Yun Chen.
Welcome.
Yeah, and I have a simple question for the increase of the car parking fee at Geelong. I've noticed that the price has been increased a double, and I want to asking how is this price has been set up and based on what, and to what extent do you think this price is affordable for the future of the residents of the Geelong, like maybe the temporary or the permanent? Yeah.
No, it's a good question. I'm going to get Gareth to answer that question.
Thank you for the question. There's various prices around the City of Greater Geelong or the CBD for parking and different options, which I think is provided as well to provide different options for those with different price brackets. Certainly there's free parking on the outer fringes of the CBD, and we offer actually park and ride services as well. I know also with Deakin University, they're actually great in that they also provide park and ride services as well. In fact, out at Tri-Boys there's park and ride. They actually go between the facilities at Warren Ponds to Geelong as well. So there's various structures from, like I said, free to the outside to the higher pricing to the $13 a day.
Yeah, that's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, last call for questions. Anyone got a question there? If not, we'll go into the agenda item.
My name's Craig Searle. I was just wondering why the price increase.
Why the price increase?
Why the price increase?
I'll go to Gareth to answer the question. It's probably going to be better.
Thank you, through the Mayor. Thanks, Craig, for the question. Well, there's obviously various price increases, so depending on which one you're referring to. But certainly, I guess that one that's been of the most controversy over the last week has been the all-day parking, where it went from $5.80 to $13. And the key reason that actually came about was there's actually off-street parking that the city also provides, and that went from $10.80 to $13. And the principle, one of the financial policy or the fees and charges policies we have actually looks at consistency on fees. So where the city is providing a service for off-street parking at $13 and having on-street at a lower rate isn't consistency, and that's how it came about for that particular price rise. But clearly why we're here today is the process to get to there has not been appropriate, and the lack of consultation or communicating of those fee changes.
But where does the money now go to that you've increased? Where's that going to be spent?
Oh, it goes into general revenue in the City of Greater Geelong that gets distributed across various services the city provides.
Right, so the City of Greater Geelong, that doesn't make any sense, to be honest. Where's it going to be? Is it going to be put back into Mallup Street to fix that up, or...?
Well, there's various revenue sources that come into the City of Greater Geelong, and you don't follow a dollar through to an expenditure. It goes into a consolidated revenue and it's distributed across the various services. $1 doesn't come in to be spent on a particular action. Well, very rarely that does anyway. That's the case.
My concern is that you're going to waste it on something like Mallup Street.
Well, the city's certainly committed to not wasting any of its funding. That's a sure investment. So.
Well, I hope you got that in writing.
Any other questions? If not, I'll start the meeting on the Section B reports, which is the one report rather, which is all-day on-street car parking fees in the Geelong CB. I'll be moving this item tonight and be seconded by the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Peter Murray here. Pardon?
With the amendment.
Oh, sorry, with the amendment, which I'm hoping has been completed in full. Okay. Thank you. Look, we're not here to make excuses or try and justify what's occurred. What we're here to do tonight is to acknowledge what's occurred, have a discussion, make a decision around that, and hopefully come up with a recommendation that takes us forward in this particular issue. I just want to double check, are there concerns with the...
It's not right.
One change hasn't been
Oh,
made.
okay, sorry.
10.2.
Oh, instead of...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but Mr. Good pick up. Excuse me. Change to you.
Yeah, it's changed there but not up there.
Is that it?
Chief Executive Officer is what we've got here, but that's it.
Is that okay? All right, thank you. Again, as I say, we're not here to make excuses. We're here to listen to the community, which we've done. Hence, we have the meeting tonight. We understand the angst that's been caused. We understand that our process has failed us. I'm not here to lay blame on anybody. We've had some discussions internally about how this has occurred and why, etc. That's for us to work out, and part of our recommendation addresses that particular issue. So I'm not going to say much more other than, as the Mayor, I apologise to the community for what's occurred. We'll take action to ensure as best we can that this doesn't happen again. That's not to say it won't. Unfortunately, we're humans, we make mistakes, so sometimes these things will occur. And I just want to give an assurance, again, that we also feel the angst of the community like anybody else. So I'm going to go over to the Deputy Mayor to make further comment, and I'm sure other councillors around will make their comments known. Thank you.
As I'll reserve my right. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Other councillors to speak? Thank you, Councillor Contell.
Yeah, I'm happy to go first. Thanks, Mr Mayor, and thanks for calling this special meeting. It's obviously disappointing that this has occurred and that this has caused frustration in the community and also in council, might I add. We accept that it seems like the error that's occurred has certainly been non-intentional, but this failing in our system, we must identify it and we must resolve it. And tonight's notice or recommendation goes some way to instructing the CEO to do that. From a councillor perspective, I can only explain that unfortunately we were blindsided by this as the community, and it's sad, I guess, from my perspective, that all the good work that we have done, and we take the work that we do with the budget very, very seriously, and we try to scrutinise and review the budget so that we present it in the most professional manner. Unfortunately, it has had this systems failing. Also, what's sad is the work that we've done over the course of the last 12 months or so to try to come up with initiatives to stimulate and revitalise the CBD, and also to make on-street parking more affordable by voting in favour of introducing a trial for free CBD parking in the 2P zones has somewhat been tainted by this error. And so most would know that I've been very close to that, and so certainly personally it saddens me that that's occurred, because the intent was actually the complete opposite. I thank the community, particularly those that have reached out to contact me, whether it be email, phone and social media, and there have been many, and I'd have to suggest that it's all been actually quite respectful, and it's been good feedback, and it's really helped me as a councillor, and I'm sure it's helped others in this room, to work out what to try to do here. And it's pretty easy. We've just got to do the right thing. We have to put community first and do the right thing. By and large, what we try to do with a budget is set it with all the information that we have with the community's needs first and foremost, but then we put that into the community to provide feedback. We did that this year as well, but unfortunately the charges that have been referred to as the hikes, the significant increases, particularly in all-day on-street, 3-hour and 4-hour, weren't disclosed in the budget papers, and they didn't go out to the community for feedback. So tonight, what we're trying to demonstrate, with all sincerity, is leadership, is our desire to engage with the community and to listen to the community and to make this situation right. In terms of whatever was in the budget, fees, charges, projects that we've sponsored, initiatives that we're funding, that has gone out to the community, I will stand by that budget that I voted on to adopt. So happy to be scrutinised on any item of the budget that was noted and went out to the community for feedback. It's unfortunate with this non-disclosure, we didn't have an opportunity to do that. But you know what, I always look at the glass full, and there's a couple of takings out of this for me personally. One is, it demonstrates to us as councillors what happens to the CBD and what happens to on-street parking when the charges are not right. And what that is people don't come into the CBD and they don't use that parking. There's photos of that. There's been people calling out to me that even in the last 3 or 4 days, that is what's happened. So that's a lesson for us. That's a lesson for us in the future. Equally, it demonstrates to us that when we don't consult with the community, when we don't put the community first, they'll quickly tell us about that. But the other positive out of this is, and I can't speculate how the vote will go tonight, but I would be very, very surprised that if we are not in unity of the recommendation that has been put up by the Mayor, and we thank him for doing so. I think it covers most of the challenges and concerns that we have as councillors in relation to this matter, and the fact that we've called the extraordinary meeting to put the charges for all-day on-street parking, for 3-hour and 4-hour CBD on-street parking, which is some of being 125%, back to where they were before the 1st of July. Everything will remain the same, and they should not be touched again, if at all, until at least the next budget process. I think less is more in this case for me, but thank you to the community for being patient with us. I hope what we're doing tonight puts that wrong right, and we will work with our officers and the council to try to ensure that this is not repeated in the future. And we certainly don't blame anyone for it. It's about getting the processes right, and we obviously have a failing in our system, otherwise we wouldn't be here today.
Thank you, Councillor Contell. Other councillors to speak at this point? If not, I'll go to Councillor Mason.
I'd just like to speak briefly, Mr Mayor. I too feel significantly embarrassed by this situation, and we do need to redress the wrong, and I do support the motion with the amendment. But partly or significantly, the wrong was that there was no consultation and that the process was limited, and we do need to redress that situation. But I was talking to a businessman today who said, I want to build a car park. And he told me that, well, I can't justify it because the rates that we have in Geelong are not competitive. And so when you look at the commercial rates, it's the duty of this council not to significantly undercharge or not to unfairly compete with commerce. So I think that that's something we all have to grapple with over the next year while we think about the next budget, because there are sustainable charges and costs which we have to look at, and we will need more parking in the future, more than on-street parking, and it's got to be some sort of rational formula, and it will be the market forces which rule.
Thank you, Councillor Mason. Another Councillor Aiken.
Thank you very much, Mr Mayor. Look, this is embarrassing. It's embarrassing for the CEO. It's embarrassing for the councillors. We have admitted that a mistake has been made, and we do have to take appropriate action as a council to actually respond to that. The appropriate action is that we shouldn't actually have these fees and charges introduced, and that's actually what this special meeting is actually doing. So, as an attempt to restore the community's confidence in the CEO and also the elected councillors, that we are taking direct action tonight to actually say that we are rolling back those charges that didn't go through what we have set the standard of having public scrutiny of our decisions and that we make. The budget of the City of Greater Geelong has three aspects. It has our budget, it has a rating strategy, and it has a fees and charges strategy. And it was a mistake that not all the fees and charges were disclosed in that third document that I just missed there. The request tonight is so that we can formally find out how the mistake actually happened. And as you've heard from some of the other councillors speak tonight, our intent is not to find blame, but is actually try to make sure that it never occurs again and actually put in place some strategies and some processes so it does never occur again. Because what is really important is the basic principle that this council is strongly committed to open and transparency in its decision that it makes. And the best way that we do that is we do disclose what we're actually doing. And the budget is the most significant piece of public engagement that we are engaged in as a council every 12 months. It actually highlights every single dollar that we attempt to raise in revenue and every single dollar that we attempt to expend during a 12-month period as a council. And it is embarrassing for us that these significant charge increases weren't actually exposed to that open and transparent process of the budget. And I'm heartened that the CEO has already apologised to the council group. He himself has taken the responsibility of the error, and he has advised us that it is a mistake. And I take that an apology as an apology for the community that I also represent. And I believe that the community will judge us in a much fairer manner if we are acting in a responsible manner. And the responsible manner is to apologise that a mistake has occurred. It is to admit that there has been a mistake, is to talk that we certainly do intend to learn from this mistake, and we want to show good faith with our community by actually saying we are not going to introduce these charges for this financial year. And I hope the community does show patience with us and understand that it doesn't matter where you actually operate, whether you have a small shop or whether you're running a $450 million business, that mistakes do happen. But it's how you actually respond to those mistakes, how we should be judged. And I hope the community does have the opportunity to judge us with what decisions we're actually making tonight, to actually review it, to roll it back and to also try and ensure that this never happens again. Because the ultimate principle that we have in government is that we should be open and transparent, and every decision that we make should be able to be scrutinised by our community. And unfortunately, this aspect of our budget and financial responsibilities was not put out to scrutiny.
Thank you. There's nothing further. I'll go to Councillor Murray, who reserved his right.
Mr. Mayor, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I've come back from leave of absence to be here tonight, and I think that, well, to me, it shows how important the issue is. I am embarrassed for us. I'm disappointed at the oversight. Look, as Councillor Aiken has said, I accept the apology of the CEO and the administration to the councillors and to the community. Look, I feel our reputation has got a little bit of a dint at the moment. We, the councillors, have called this special meeting. We want to restore the faith back of the community in our governance structure and the way we manage the city's budget. I think that's the bottom line. We understand the frustration. We are also frustrated. But I think that we have accepted the apology and we will now right the wrongs. This shows a unified council. The fact that we can call a meeting within a day and get the majority of us to arrive and speak on this matter shows a unified council. This shows that we listen to our community. This also shows that we ensure that transparency and communication with our community is the utmost importance. Thank you to the CEO and to his officers for the honest and transparent declaration of this, and I think that you'll see that this is an opportunity for us to show that we are human and that the officers are human. And thank you for fellow councillors for bringing this to my attention whilst I'm on leave, and I'm thanking them for taking the brunt of what's been happening over the last week or so. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillors to make comment or speak? If not, I will go to Councillor Murray.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor, and well done on being here, Kylie. Really mean that. I certainly support this amendment. I want to firstly say that this is a most unfortunate position we find ourselves in tonight. Embarrassing, yes. Unavoidable, yes. But I want to make it clear that as long as humans are involved, I guess there will be mistakes made. And that's exactly what this is, a human error. Human error that was completely undetectable by this councillor group when we voted on the budget. And when we voted on the budget, the capped all-day parking, on-street parking, the 3-hour parking capped, the 4-hour parking capped, and the 4-hour parking capped high occupancy from the Western Beach Road, Eastern Beach Road, Ritchie Boulevard, Braham Street, Ballerine Street and the Little Ryrie Street car park were not listed in the budget papers. So we as councillors were not briefed on these rises, ever. So when these fee increases became apparent, and that's another story, this council has acted swiftly to correct this oversight. This is not about blaming someone or finding a scapegoat. And I'm aware that there are staff members who are struggling with this, blaming themselves. I hope they're receiving the support they need and require, and we can all look forward. But as I say, this is about correcting something that shouldn't have happened, so I'm encouraged by tonight's meeting to revert the fees for these parking areas back to the 18-19 fees. And I just want to say something whilst I have the floor. I want to make a comment about the hysteria this has created on social media. I know I shouldn't go there, but I am. I know as elected officials we are subjected to public scrutiny. I accept that, but I struggle to comprehend the constant barrage of scathing comments and abuse, sometimes personal, that we cop from the very brave keyboard warriors that exist out in the never-never. Are we just to accept this as part of being councillors? Or do we call it out when enough is enough? Okay, that is my rant. This fiasco will be righted hopefully tonight. And from 7 a.m. next Monday morning, the fee prices for parking will be reverted back to what they were. So thank you. Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Pete. Look, I'm sure we've all got the sentiment of why we're here, and you're hearing some quite open and honest and some emotional comments from us as a council. I think it's important to remember that we will make mistakes again, and we will address those accordingly. Whether it means we're back in here at a special meeting, so be it. But our intent is to conduct ourselves in the best manner that we can for the best result for the community. That's why we come in to this particular building and do what we do. That's our role. I just also want to make, just before I'll put the recommendation to the vote, which is quite simply, we return the fees back to the 18-19 rates. We do a full review of what's occurred. We ask for a report from the CEO to look at what's occurred and how we're going to ensure it doesn't happen again, and try and get that confidence back to the community that our processes and our communication is as good as it must be. So I put the recommendation to the vote. Those in favour? Those against? That is carried.
A division, please.
Thank you, Councillor Contell. Those in favour? Councillor Aiken, Councillor Grisbeck, Councillor Contell, Councillor Harwood, Councillor Murray, Councillor Mason, Councillor Asher, Councillor Sullivan and Councillor Nelson. Those against? No. Thank you. Just before we do go, I just want to make a quick comment, and I guess it sort of hits home again that we had some council officer personnel involved in an incident today that is quite tragic. Now, while we weren't there, we still feel, and you'll read about it in the paper and you'll hear more about this, but a particular accident that's occurred. Of the 2,700 employees within council, it doesn't matter who it is or what the circumstances are. If something happens that has a community impact, we all feel that. I know it's maybe a bit corny or it doesn't sound quite right, but it's how most of us feel that when things do occur in the community, we feel it and it reverberates through all of us as councillors and council officers. We all feel that. So I just make that comment. It's a sad day for some out there in Geelong, and we as a council feel that. So thank you for coming along. We are praying for Monday that it does actually tick over. We're at the mercy of technology, but you understand where we're coming from.